workout and bodyweight exercise fans. In today's video from Eat Muscle, I'll be answering some of your questions and basically some of the most popular ones, some I got this week, so feel free to send me more of your questions because I'll be doing more of these this week since I'm in the middle of moving to a new apartment. This is it basically. So light is a lot better here, and basically Home and Muscle will have a new training base, so prepare for a lot more cooler stuff in the near future. Now, one of the most popular questions I get, and I also got this week, was so it kind of goes like this. I'm a beginner, I haven't gotten started yet with a workout plan, and I'm wondering, what kind of supplements should I order before I start training? Because, how can you start training without supplements, right? Well, here's my answer to that, you have no place, no job into researching supplements if you haven't even gotten started with your workout plan, if you haven't basically found a solid workout plan, if you haven't found a way to incorporate it in your lifestyle, so you never skip your workouts. You have to find the best times. You have to find how you're generally going to fit your program into your lifestyle, so you don't so things don't get in the way. These are the most important things in the beginning. Also having solid basically guidelines. For example, I have a beginner's guide on my website. You can download it on the link above here. And I also answer all of your questions. So, my email is in there. I mentioned it in the free ebook I have, that you can always mail me for any questions you have. I answer this within 24 to 48 hours max. I always get back to everyone. And, because it's important to have someone to guide you in the beginning, extremely important. Now, after that, you have to check out your diet. So, just leave the supplements aside for the moment. Are you getting enough protein from dietary sources? Are you eating enough of the healthy stuff, stuff rich in micronutrients, fruits, vegetables especially? All these things are the things you should be asking in the beginning. These are the things that you have to be I wouldn't say worried about, but busy with. And you don't have to care about supplements at least until after month 4. Personally, I didn't even take anything the first 1.5 years I was training, I think, or 1 year. So those first 4 months, focus on the things I told you. Also make sure you're getting enough of calories, depending if you want to lose weight or gain weight. So that was question number 1. Moving on to question number 2. This is pretty related. A lot of people ask me, how can they gain weight? I know a lot of people want to lose weight, but a lot of guys out there, skinny dudes, want to gain weight. So here are my 6 tips on gaining weight. Number 1, you have to count your calories for 3 days. Now, I'm not a big fan of counting calories. I basically think it doesn't work in the long term. You just get sick and tired of it, and it becomes a little bit of a compulsive, weird, obsessive thing. Anyway, in summary, even studies have shown that constantly tracking stuff is not the healthiest thing. It does work for people who are pretty, basically obsessive with things like that. People who have like lists for everything, people who document everything, those kinds of personalities, but that's like 1 out of 10 people. So tip number 1, count your calories for the first 3 weeks. Use My Fat Secret. Is a good app, but there are a lot of free apps. That's the one I recommend. And make sure you're either gaining, if you want to gain weight, that you're on a caloric surplus, and if you want to lose weight, if you're in a caloric deficit. So this way you'll get a general idea. In this case, in this question, you want to gain weight, so you want to be in a caloric surplus. How much depends. Something between 250 and 500 calories. Don't go above that, depending on how much weight you want to gain and how fast you want to gain it. And That's important because you have to get a general idea of how many calories your body needs, because most of the times that people tell me I can't gain weight, they're eating too little. Like, I see what they eat and like I'm like, dude, this is not even like half of the calories that I get, or you know, a person like you should get. So it's important to count calories just for 3 days. I know it's ball breaking, I know it's not it's not fun, but this way you're going to get a general idea of the total volume of food you should be getting, and after that it's going to be easier to just eyeball your portions. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to always eat 10% more than you feel comfortable of eating. So you shouldn't be like feeling like you're gonna puke or anything, but you know, you have to push yourself a little bit, because let's face it, if you haven't gained weight till now, it means you're not eating enough. So that means you have to push yourself a little bit. So with every meal, push yourself a little bit more. Be careful, because your body generally wants to maintain homeostasis. That means, you know, basically the body wants to keep things as they are if it's been in a state for a long time. So if you've been thin for a long time, your body is going to like to be there. So you're going to have to push yourself. And even if you eat more in some meals, don't forget to neglect the following meals, because you might eat more like in the breakfast and noon, and you might like skip dinner or like eat less at dinner. So you know, these are things you have to keep in mind. These are typical mistakes. Tip number 3 is, let me review my notes. Yeah, tip number 3 is eating more healthy fats. So you know, stuff like nuts. Nuts are amazing. They have minerals, protein, and you know, get some healthy nuts. You know, not those with a ton of salt or that are fried and stuff like that. Just get some good raw nuts and have a handful or 2 per day. You know, that's instantly 150 calories, a handful of nuts. So have at least 2 handfuls of those per day. Tip number 4 is have snacks. You know, for example, have peanut butter jelly sandwiches. They're easy to carry, and you know, they're easy to eat, and you know, they have a lot of calories. So that's an option that's pretty handy. You know, peanut butter has a lot of protein as well, healthy fats. You can make your own if you don't want like preservatives and stuff like that, or buy an organic one or whatever. Moving on to tip number 5. It's basically what I said before. Don't skip meals. Always eat at least 3 meals per day: breakfast, dinner, and noon, and have at least 2 snacks in between those meals. So you know, doing things like intermittent fasting, if you want to gain weight, it's not going to be that helpful. And for my last tip, I recommend that you have a badass dessert at the end of the day. Why at the end of the day? Where basically, if you eat a lot of the sweet stuff, you know, and the junk early in the day, I noticed that with everyone, you know, we avoid to eat the healthy stuff, because you know, you've eaten something that's so strong in taste and everything else just doesn't taste good enough. So always leave your dessert for the end of the day. And you know, what's a good dessert? Well, chocolate is pretty amazing. It's one of the healthiest desserts. You know, it has protein in it, pretty much protein for a dessert. It has minerals, and you know, also have other stuff. Have some of the fun stuff. Since you want to gain weight, don't be so orthorexic. You know, you can have a dessert per day and be fine if you're eating all the other healthy stuff, and if you're not overweight. So these are my 6 tips for people who want to gain weight. Moving on to question number 3. Flavius asks, are knuckle push-ups better than regular ones? If yes, why and how? Knuckle push-ups are better than regular ones. Why? Well, first of all, wrist health. You know, being constantly in hyperextension with push-ups, so this is hyperextension, is gonna cause some issues in the long run. And you know, being in a neutral knuckle push-up stance keeps the wrist straight, so you know, it's a lot healthier. You'll avoid future problems. Of course, if you're a beginner, you're gonna have to get used to it. And you know, you don't have to start with knuckle push-ups, but later on make sure you start working on them. Or you can even do wrist push-ups. I have a tutorial, you can check it above. Wrist push-ups are pretty awesome for wrist health. So second benefit of knuckle push-ups is that you get more range of motion. So since you're, instead of being here, you are being here, so you know that's like instantly you gain a couple of inches of height and range of motion, so you can go deeper during the push-up. You know, you can get a better stretch at the bottom position for your chest and get more chest activation that way. So these are the main reasons knuckle push-ups are better. This was the end of today's Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me your questions below, and until next time, keep on training.